Einen schönen guten Morgen aus Washington, schönen Nachmittag nach Österreich. Mein Name ist Theresa Weiß. Ich freue mich, dass Sie sich heute zu unserem Webinar über das Procurement der Inter-American Development Bank zuschalten. Anfangs gleich ein paar Tipps. Wir werden das heutige Webinar aufzeichnen und Sie können natürlich die Unterlagen im Nachhinein von uns erhalten. Ich bitte um etwas Nachsicht. Wir haben gerade unsere Datenbank, über die wir die Aussendungen machen, umgestellt. Das heißt, es ist alles noch sehr neu. Wir sind alle am Lernen. Sollten Sie die Unterlagen unbedingt benötigen und in den nächsten Tagen nicht automatisch von uns erhalten, bitte, wie gesagt, um Nachsicht einfach eine E-Mail schreiben und dann können wir sie Ihnen individuell zusenden. Wir haben heute circa 60 Minuten reserviert. Wir werden nach der Präsentation unserer Vortragenden von der Inter-American Development Bank Zeit für Ihre Fragen haben, die Sie dann über die Chat-Fragebox stellen können und die wir dann gerne beantworten werden. Die Inter-American Development Bank hat ihren Sitz hier in Washington, D.C., deswegen fällt sie unter unseren Betreuungsbereich, obwohl alle Projekte in Lateinamerika und in der Karibik umgesetzt werden. Und wie viele von Ihnen wahrscheinlich wissen, die Inter-American Development Bank ist ein sehr großer Player im lateinamerikanischen Bereich und ist ein Katalysator, hat einen Multiplikatoreffekt bei sehr vielen Projekten, die auch über die eigenen Projekte hinausgehen. Deswegen ist es sehr wichtig, sie zu kennen. Sie hat einige Büros in fast allen Städten in Lateinamerika. Und die Bankoperationen, wir sprechen eben von einer Bank, von einer Entwicklungsbank, decken das gesamte Spektrum der wirtschaftlichen und sozialen Entwicklung ab. Österreich ist Mitglied der IDB und zwar im Bereich Inter-American Development Bank gesamt und auch der IDB Invest. Jene von Ihnen, die die Weltbank kennen, bei der Weltbank gibt es auch einen Privatsektorarm, der sich IFC nennt. Das gleiche ist IDB Invest für die Inter-American Development Bank. Unser Webinar heute ist das erste in einer Reihe von mehreren Webinaren, in denen wir Ihnen die Entwicklungsbanken, regionalen Entwicklungsbanken weltweit vorstellen werden. Wir nennen diese Serie IFI Procurement Around the World. Und Sie sehen hier die nächsten Webinare, die wir in den nächsten Wochen, Monaten für Sie planen und die Kollegen und Kolleginnen von mir an den verschiedenen Außenwirtschaftszentren durchführen werden. Und wir hoffen natürlich auch, dass Sie sich dafür interessieren und anmelden werden. Warum machen wir so eine Webinarreihe? Die IFI-Ausschreibungen, das IFI-Geschäft ist ein sehr großes mit sehr vielen Geschäftschancen, wo man sich eben auch auskennen soll. Aus diesem Grund informieren wir Sie immer sehr gerne, was neu ist, was kommt und wie man sich eben auf solche Projekte bewerben kann. Der Vorteil ist, all diese Projekte, die ausgeschrieben werden, haben standardisierte Ausschreibungsunterlagen, die Finanzierungen sind gesichert, die Projekte sind bereits auf ihre Machbarkeit überprüft. Aber natürlich, wie bei jedem Markteintritt, ist es schwierig, diesen Markt zu bearbeiten. Man braucht einiges an Wissen. Es ist ein komplexer Prozess, ein hoher Aufwand an Ressourcen und die Konkurrenz ist sehr groß. Aber wie gesagt, wir finden, es zahlt sich aus. Es gibt viele Geschäftschancen und wir hoffen Ihnen eben mit unseren Webinaren immer wieder neue Informationen bieten zu können. Wir werden jetzt dann auf Englisch weitersprechen, da unsere Sprecherin nicht Deutsch spricht. Und ich bin jetzt sehr froh, Sie vorstellen zu können. I'm very happy to introduce Adriana to you. She's a procurement specialist at the Inter-American Development Bank and has worked with the bank for a couple of years already. Her background is as an economist, and she has extensive knowledge in policy research, design, implementation in the public procurement and public administration sphere. And I'm very happy that she's here with us today. And the floor is yours, Adriana. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Teresa. Hello, everyone. Good morning from where I am. Good afternoon, I guess, from where you are. As Teresa mentioned, I'm Adriana Salazar, procurement specialist at DB. I'm based in Washington, D.C. But today I salute you from Mexico. Just to give you an idea, before we get started on procurement, I'm gonna give you an idea of the size of the public procurement market in the region, which is about 900 billion that are spent annually. The IDB finances around 1 to 2% of that market every year. So the opportunities really in the region are beyond of what we do, but it is a great way to get started in a safer and less risky environment, let's say. So what many companies do is participate in our procurement and trying to understand the markets in the region, which is a very interesting one, as you can see. If we look at financing in terms of the distribution per sector, most of it goes to infrastructure. 50% of our financing goes to energy, transport, and water and sanitation projects. 20% goes to the social sector in projects in education, work, social protection, and health services. Another 20% goes to what we call the institutions for development. These are things related to governance, competitiveness, capital markets, public sector reform, and fiscal economic issues. And 10% goes to climate change and sustainability in projects related to forestry, agriculture, tourism, biodiversity, and sustainable cities. So what is this thing of project procurement? As you know, the IDB provides funding to borrowing member countries in Latin America and the Caribbean for a broad range of loans and development programs. And these operations involve procurement processes that generate between 20,000 and 30,000 contracts each year for eligible firms and individuals that supply the goods, the works, and the consulting services needed for those projects. So it's a lot of contracts happening every year. And the first thing that we need to understand is how procurement fits into the project cycle. First, we have the programming stage. Here's where the country strategy is developed. The strategic document sets forth the development challenges that are identified by the government and by the bank, and as well as a coordinated response to these challenges, which include strategic lines of action. So it's already a good indication on the country development priorities for the coming years. So it's a document that is very important to check for every country that you're interested in. We then have the preparation and the approval stages. Here's where the country and the bank jointly identify initiatives to be incorporated to the bank's active pipeline. And here's where projects are created. There are a series of documents that are prepared to define the project, which are ultimately approved by the board of directors. Once these are approved, you have more detailed information on the projects, including a procurement plan with the procurement processes that will be needed for that particular project for the coming years. So this is also another good indication of the kind of procurement that's going to happen for that project. And finally, we have the implementation stage of the project. Here's where the procurement actually happens. At this stage, you will see the specific procurement notices for the goods, works, and non-consulting and consulting services that are needed for the execution of the project. So basically, here is where you find the bidding opportunities. You can also find the contract award notices, which are helpful to understand who is winning the contracts. Another thing that is really important to understand is, let me go back, is the different roles and responsibilities in procurement between the borrower and executing agencies, the bank, and the business community. It's often confusing for companies because they think that we do the procurement, that we have the interaction with the companies and that we sign the contracts, and that is actually something that the borrower and the executing agency does directly. So we loan the money to the country, there's an executing agency doing that particular project, and they are responsible for the planning, the evaluation, the contract award, and the contract management. So they do have the direct relationship with the business community. They communicate to the standard bidding documents, which define the specific needs for the procurement that is happening, and they sign the contracts directly with the business community. What's the role of the IDB then? So we finance the project and we oversee the compliance with our policy. So we have specific procurement policies that are based in best practice and international standards, and the executing agency has to follow these rules of the game. So the IDB has never a contractual relationship with the business community. We have procurement specialists that are members in all projects project teams from the design stage of the project, and they operate from each of the 26 country offices that we have around the region. So we have one procurement specialist per country. Once this is clarified, I would like to tell you something about the new procurement policy. We recently renovated the procurement policy. This was approved by the Board of Directors during the summer of 2019 and became effective in January 2020. We're going to go through some of the highlights of these changes. Might be interested to you. And let me move. So we see procurement as a tool to find the best solutions to our clients, which have increasingly complex development challenges. We have new selection methods that allow the adoption of new technologies and innovation. We have increased dialogue with the market. We have incorporation of sustainability concepts. We have the optimization of value for money, and we have the facilitation of co-finance projects. In terms of the new methods, I'm going to highlight two of the most interesting ones that were added to our menu of possibilities. One is the competitive dialogue. This method allows the dynamic interaction of the borrower with the bidders. Under this method, the borrowers engage in a dialogue with the companies that are initially selected with the aim of identifying and specifying suitable alternative solutions that satisfy the needs of the project before inviting firms to submit the competitive bids. There's another method that is called the innovation partnership. And this is a multi-stage procedure where the borrower needs a solution that is not already available in the market. So it involves the creation of an innovative solution. In terms of the market approaches and the evaluation criteria, we have also some very interesting concepts. For instance, the most advantageous bid. This is incredibly relevant because to achieve value for money, the evaluation criteria may consider factors as cost, quality, risk, innovation, sustainability, life cycle, amongst others. This means that the most advantageous bid, but not necessarily the lowest evaluated price, is the one that has to be selected for award. This is a game changer, and this is one of the mechanisms that will actually allow the executing agencies to achieve the best value for money in procurement. In terms of sustainable procurement, we have also done quite some work. The new policy allows the borrower to include sustainability requirements in the procurement process, encompassing actually 3 dimensions: social, which includes things related to gender inclusion, diversity, protection of human and labor rights; also environmental criteria, things like reduction of CO2 emissions, use of renewable energy, energy efficiency; and economic dimension, which includes concepts of value for money and life cycle costing. The bank has been actually actively promoting the implementation of sustainable procurement for some time now. Since 2018, we published the guidelines on how to implement green procurement in bank finance projects. We also have grant resources available to implement pilots and develop knowledge products. We also have supported the countries in implementing sustainable procurement in their own procurement systems for over a decade. We actually recently published a diagnostic that shows the progress achieved by the region, and it's something that you will be able to check out. I have a link here in the presentation for you to go and check if you're interested. And you will see here what I'm talking about. Here is the green procurement guidelines that you can access through this link, and also the sustainable public procurement diagnostic. Okay, now time to move on. I know this is a lot of information and that you will need some extra hand and time to go through all of it. This is why we have created something that is called the Procurement Compass. This is a tool that will help you navigate to our procurement policy. You can explore it on your own time and be able to find the full menu of procurement possibilities with the IDB. When we do the renovation of the procurement policy, most MDBs did like thousands of guidelines, and that's a lot of documents to read, and to be honest, no one reads that. So we were trying to figure out a way to to introduce these new concepts to the community, and we came up with this idea of developing a tool that is interactive. So everything is very visual. This is the menu, and then you can click on each of the concepts and find the definitions for the principles. You can find our procurement methods, you click on them, and then you can see the definition, you can see examples, you can see our evaluation criteria, the things that we consider, you can see everything you need to know about sustainable procurement is also summarized here. There's also a decision tree that you can go through, and it will take you through like the different methods and possibilities. So this is very user-friendly, and hopefully will give you more detail into what it means to do procurement based on our policies. This is something that you can download from our webpage. I'm going to explain to you that later, but this is public information. Okay. So enough with the policy. Let's move forward with some key factors for successful bidding. This is some additional links that you can also access through the presentation of the tools that I just mentioned. And so some key factors for successful bidding that we've learned through the years and the companies have told us have been useful for them. I think the most important one is to have a long-term perspective with systematic screening. I know that it seems like very complex and it sounds bureaucratic to do business with the MDBs, but if you do it once, you can do it many times. It's all the same, and it's actually very similar between all the MDBs. So once you learn the tricks and you understand how to be strategic about it, it actually becomes fairly easy. In the long term, it's very important to read the country strategy. You have to start understanding what's your business, what are you interested in, because it's a big world of possibilities. There are many countries, there are cultural barriers, there's a lot that you have to get into. So it's important to have a specific niche of interest, a sector or a country where you want to make business. So it's very interesting to read the country strategies to understand the development priorities of the country and start digging into it from an early stage. On the midterm, it's important to go and check the project documents and the procurement plans to see what kind of procurement is going to happen for that particular sector of interest that you have and in that particular country of interest that you have. And in the more of the short term, you can also go and check the specific procurement notices and the contract award notices that I was mentioning are important to understand who is winning the contracts, see who is the competition or who can be partners even for some projects in the region. Some additional tips are related to being strategic and assessing the market and competition, to contact the executing agency for specific questions about a project or a procurement process, to understand the legal nuances for foreign firms. I'm sure you know about this, and actually organizations like this one will help you with that, with finding partnerships, with finding established firms in the countries that you can contact. So it's important always to contact the embassies or the commercial offices for information in relation to this. Now, we recently renovated our procurement website. Now it has a cleaner and more intuitive design. We have expanded the content. We have multimedia with concepts on the new procurement policy, the Procurement Compass that I just mentioned. We have improved search engines for the procurement plans, for procurement notices, and for contract awards. We also have improved the reporting and data visualization. So we're going to go through that briefly in a second. But before we go explore the website, just a couple more resources for you that are going to be available here in the presentation. It's access to development business website. Here all the MDBs publish their international procurement opportunities. So this is a good space to find this information. We also have the procurement website that I just mentioned and that we are going to explore in a second. The same opportunities are published in our website automatically. So anything that you find in the development business, you find in our website. And we also have a platform that is called Connect Americas. This is a very interesting platform that was developed by the IDB. It's the largest business community in the Americas. And it's a business platform that was created to help companies access international markets. So it's a very, very good place to understand which companies are operating in the region. It's a good place to find partners. There are forums divided by particular areas of interest, by sectors. So you can start connecting with the companies. It's like a social network for doing businesses in the region with local companies. So I strongly recommend you to check it out. Now we are going to go to another resource, which is called an app which is called Build the Americas. Also a very interesting application. This was designed to increase transparency about upcoming infrastructure procurement in Latin America and the Caribbean, and it facilitates connections between the infrastructure developers and local partners and suppliers. You can go and download that from the App Store or the Google Play Store, and basically you find the projects that are going to happen in the coming years. You can find the procurement that is going to happen. So this draws information on the procurement plans, and you can check local partners and infrastructure developers for the sector and the particular good or service or the works related to that particular procurement. And you can find their contact information. You can chat with them. So it's a great way to try and find the local partners and suppliers for procurement that is related to that particular process. So also recommend you to download this. Now we are going to do this exploration of the procurement website that I was promising. So let's see if we can do this right. I'm gonna share my screen now, and let me know if you are looking at the screen. I think you are. I see you here in the audience view. So perfect. Now I'm going to walk you through some of the new features that will hopefully be useful for you. As you will see, the new design aims for simplicity. There's easy access to the procurement information that is most relevant for the users, being the procurement plans, the procurement notices, and the awarded contracts. These are the three pieces of information that I was telling you through my presentation that are the focus areas for you. So the home page features a general search engine and is structured to facilitate access to these three components. The procurement plans to provide information and outlook on future procurement opportunities, the procurement notices with information on ongoing bidding opportunities where you can participate, and the awarded contracts providing information on who is winning the contracts. We also have 4 sections with additional information, tools, and resources. We have easy access to the standard bidding documents. We have also access to the national procurement system portals of the countries. So for every country in the region, you can find a link to their specific procurement portal. We also have multimedia content with videos that explain the new concepts of the procurement policy, like the ones that I was going through my presentation, but these are for every single new concept. So it's a very good 1-minute video that will get you on board. Okay, now let's go ahead and briefly explore the sections where you can consult information. Let's go to the procurement notices, for example. So we have new real-time updates with the UNDP website. As I mentioned, everything that is published there is published here automatically. We have an improved search engine with filters by date, by type of notification, by country. And I'm gonna go ahead and check some notifications. Let's say I want all the current notices for the energy sector. Let's see what's going on the energy sector. Then here, for instance, we have the design, acquisition, and installation of a renewable energy system solution at the Barbados National Terminal Company Limited. You click on it, and then you find all the specific information that you need to participate in this project. It will tell you the invitation for bids. It will tell you the links to the portal, will tell you which policies it follows. It will tell you the time where you have to hand in or send the email where you have to send the information. So anything you need to know to participate in this particular process. Now, let's go ahead and explore another section that is very interesting, and it's the awarded contract section. I like this a lot. It has a visualization tool that you will see is very interesting. You have a list view first, where you can search for the contracts that have been awarded for a particular set of years. Let's say we are interested in the last 10 years or so. Let's say we are interested in all sectors and supplier country. Let's say we want to see which contracts Austria has won in the region in the past 10 years. And let's do goods and works. Then we have here the list of the contracts. You have all the details, the sector, the procurement method that was used, the amount, and the company that was awarded. And you have that for each of the contracts that have been awarded to Austrian companies. We can also go ahead and check the visualization tool, which is interesting because it will show you this same information but with some graphic analysis. So in this case, I'm checking the last 10 years as well. For both goods and works and consulting, I'm going to check Austria. And I'm going to see that the participation for Austrian firms has been quite low. We have only 16 contracts valued at $89 million. It's mostly on goods and works. 99.7% has been on goods and works. We can also see that distribution by sector mostly has been health and energy. You can see the top supplier companies that have participated or individuals. You can see the countries where they have won these contracts. So this is a very interesting tool to understand where you are, but you can also check this for every single supplier country or a specific supplier borrower country. So here's a tool for you to play around with. And with this, I will just leave the floor back to Teresa. And if you have any questions, I'm happy here to help.
Thank you, Adriana, for your presentation. And I really like your new website and the tools you were showing us as part of the people or staff members who work here at embassies and deal with the IFIs. It's very helpful and very great for us to see especially the contract awards with many other institutions don't show it in this way, and it's very complicated to find this information. And I think it's important for not only for me but for the companies. Obviously, if we talk about partnering, or to just get an idea what other companies are out there, and to potentially be able to find someone and get in contact and team up for other contracts. So that's a great tool, and I only can applaud the IDB for making this available publicly. Please, as I said in the beginning, we're gonna turn over to the question and answer session, and you can use the chat box and write your question, and I will read it out loud, and then we can, if you have burning questions, we can answer them here. And if questions come up later, obviously you can also send me an email, and we can deal with it individually. I talked a little bit about partnering. Do you also have like partnership opportunities for the IDB where you can send ideas? Would you know about that? Or is that like a totally different sector?
Actually, the tools that I mentioned, for instance, the app, the mobile app, is exactly for that, built for that. You have the local companies that are relevant for that particular sector where the procurement is happening, and it will connect you with those companies. That's a very interesting feature that was recently developed by the competitiveness division of the bank, the trade and integration division, and also the business community that I was mentioning, the Connect Americas, is exactly also built for developing those partnerships. So those two tools that I strongly recommend everyone to check out.
Okay, great. And if you if we talk a little bit about the evaluation of bids, is there? I guess you will have a point system where you give different points. Is it very important you get points, for example, for working with local companies? Is that something you really at the IDB that you recommend companies to do?
It depends on the specific procurement, but definitely the new scoring system allows for that. For instance, part of the sustainability criteria is the development of local firms. So there might be a particular procurement that is interested in promoting that and would actually give points for partnering with local firms. Let's say it's a possibility that new procurement policy allows, but it will depend on the specific procurement.
And do you have a two-stage bidding process where you have, I know from the World Bank, for example, when they did their procurement review, that was one of the things that existed before, but that's been much more in use now, is that the technical offer for certain procurements comes in first before you look at the price.
Absolutely, yes, we have that. We have the multi-stage procurement, one envelope, two envelopes. We have basically all the same practices and standards that all the MDVs have. It's very similar. We all adopted this approach.
Currently, I mean, I understand that. So I'm in Washington D.C. I know that the headquarters are closed at the moment. How does it look like in the countries? Are many companies who have business and are able now to travel again if they're in a country in Latin America? Are they able to visit country offices, or what is the situation right now? How do you?
Most of them are closed. It depends on where the pandemic is at in each country. So we have 4 modules. Module 1, no one goes. Module 2, only 25% of the employees can go. But definitely visitors are restricted. So I don't think in most of the country offices, I don't think it will be possible yet. But it will move forward as we progress with the pandemic. There's a specific plan to come back to the new normal, what they call the new normal. But yeah, I don't think that's a possibility now. Everything is virtual, online, like
everything is virtual
today.
Yeah. No, I thought I'm checking with you since I only know about the situation here in Washington D.C. and I know for the IDB a lot of work is done at the regional offices as well. So that might be a helpful information for our participants to know today if they can visit or not. But apparently you cannot. Are there any projects you would want to highlight that are of big importance, like big upcoming projects that you know about and you think that would be interesting for Austrian companies or any companies to know about?
I actually wanted to show you where to find that information, and I forgot after showing you the website. If I can get the possibility to share my screen again, excellent. I will show you where to find it. So you go to projects. First, I want to show you the sector priorities because that's something that you were also asking. So how to understand where the sector's at, where they're going. So you go to energy, let's say, and you will see here the current focus areas of the energy sector. So most probably projects related to large-scale wind farms, solar power systems, biofuel facilities, efficient lighting, hydroelectric facilities. These are projects that will come up in these focus areas, and you can actually see the distribution and the number of projects and the financing related to the energy sector projects, the division by subsector. This is the last 5 years approval. This is the historical approvals in energy. This is the active portfolio in energy, and news and things related to what's happening in this sector. So this is a good way to understand the type of projects and the focus areas for a particular sector. We have the same information for every single sector that we work on. In terms of the projects, specific projects, you can go on the projects tab, and there you will find the information. So you can see the projects by sector, by country, and on the search engine here, we can see the ones that are under implementation, let's say, the ones that we're executing now. You can check, I'm obsessed now with energy sector, let's go with energy. And let's check all countries, and then you will have here a list of all the countries, all of the projects that were approved recently. This was just approved in 2022 in January. This is very new. Innovative solar PV energy services for the poor and vulnerable. You have the big projects, for instance, by the amount, you can see which ones can be interesting, right? This 250 million. This is the power sector sustainability and efficiency program in the Dominican Republic. I think this is a good way to see which projects are happening, and it all depends on your interest, no? In which country are you interested in working, and in the type of project that fits your interest. So this is a good way.
Mm-hmm. Can we, since you're already sharing your screen, can we go back, because I have a question again about partnering, about those two, how you showed where you can find partners and match up. Can you show us that again, or was it in your presentation?
That is actually on the application. You have to have it on your phone, and it will show you all the procurement. I can't share my phone now, but you can download it, and it is very easy to use. You'll find the procurement coming for a specific project, and then it will tell you when the procurement is going to happen. It's from the procurement plan, so it's not procurement opportunities where you can bid right away. This is for more mid-term planning. And then once you click on that particular process, you will find the local partners related to that particular procurement.
The local partners. So that's not the Connect Americas app. That's the app from the IDB, correct? Because you showed us two, and both are actually good apps to connect and find partners, if I understood correctly.
Actually, Connect Americas is the website, is a platform. So that's not an application. And actually, the application is part of the Connect Americas ecosystem. And everything is done by the IDB. So it's both are IDB developed. But the application is the one that will give you information on the potential local partners, and you can contact them even through the application.
Through the application, that's great, I would say, and I hope that answers the question we had. Also, I want to, since we're looking at the website, and everything is nowadays really, it's public information, and you find a lot of information online on the respective institutions on the website. I know a lot of people are using different platforms to find procurement opportunities, and those are great to help you find opportunities in different institutions and also filter them and everything. But if you have the time, you will find all that information on the single websites, because it is public and it has to be published, all the documents. And thank you for showing us the procurement and the project websites where you can go ahead and select and filter information that you may need. Obviously, this does not everything about partnering and meeting and making yourself known. This is an added value, an important value that you should put resources into it, and hopefully, as Adriana said, in a better future, we will be able to meet again in person and build those networks that are so essential. If I currently don't see any more questions in the chat, please, if you have a burning question, we still have a couple of minutes to answer it, and otherwise we will, I guess, end a little earlier than we had planned. And as I said, please, if questions still come up after the webinar, please send us an email. You find my the email address for our office here and also of our colleague in Vienna who deals with IFI matters, and we're very happy to answer your questions. And I'm sure Adriana will be happy to help me if I cannot answer something myself, that I can send the question to you and have it get a useful answer back to you. I don't see any more questions, so I thank you very much, Adriana, for being with us today and showing us all the new procurement things happening and the apps and the new website. And we'll hopefully stay in touch. And I also would like to thank our audience today for listening in. I hope we had some useful information for you. Please stay in touch with us. And that's all for now for today. Thank you. Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, everyone.